on this episode of Tell Us a Story.
And the sweet spot is in prevention. So it's letting that person know that you care, and you care about them as an individual, as a member of your team.
Can you tell me about That Was Just Banter?
And then we also, as I've mentioned, deal with some really tough stuff like bullying at work, like sexual harassment. It simply stands for empathy, care, action. So the website is resoundtraining.co.uk.
That's a powerful story.
You'll have an opportunity to take a quiz called the Effective Leader Quiz.
I think we all just need to lead with empathy, care, and action. Welcome to Tell Us a Story, the podcast by Belmont City Press, where entrepreneurs and sales professionals share their journeys, insights, and strategies for success. In each episode, our guests reveal how they've overcome challenges, established their brands, and leveraged their stories to promote their businesses so you can too. I'm Red Hilton, your host for this episode. Today I'm joined by Gill Brabner, who is the founder of Resound Training and Development. So, Gill, tell us a story.
Oh, thank you, Red. And I'm delighted to be here. So thank you. So I set up Resound in 2004. So we celebrate our 20th anniversary in October this year, which is very exciting. And we are a learning and development business. So we create learning programs for organizations. And specifically, we are all about helping managers improve the quality of conversations at work. And to do that, I've got a team of professional actors, and we create forum theatre workshops where we present a real work story to our delegates, and they get to work through the problem with us and redirect the actors. And so we co-create the solution, and it's a fantastic way to learn. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, we love it. So that's us.
So as you know, that is very near and dear to my heart. But talk to me about your journey to Resound Training and Development. How was your journey in getting there?
Oh, well, I can go all the way back to when I was 17, which is a very long time ago. And I went to the theatre with my English literature class, and we saw Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, one of your very own. And it's a tragedy, as you know. And my friends left the theatre saying, well, that was awful, we're going to the pub. And I went home on a high. And that's because that evening showed me that my family were not alone in what they were going through. So my dad at that time had mental health issues, and he was having treatment in a hospital. And although I knew in my head that, there must be other people there, the stigma was such at that time that, you just couldn't talk about it. But seeing the play that night had a huge impact. It was life-changing because I realised that, we weren't alone, and I just felt, wow, this is so powerful, and I want to do something with theatre which changes things for the better. So that's why all these years later, I have a forum theatre business, and I work with actors, and we go into companies, and we try and create a better experience for everyone there.
That's a powerful story.
And along the way, obviously, I've done human resources, and I've got qualifications in learning and development, and I've designed lots of different programs, but that's at the heart of it.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Can you tell me about That Was Just Banter?
Yes, I can. So, It Was Just Banter is a fabulous scenario that we have, which really shows the impact of bullying at work and sexual harassment. And we are delivering 3 workshops online this month in September for free. So anyone can join us, and I hope members of your audience certainly will, so that people can come and experience forum theatre and see the power of it for themselves. So yes, it's a scenario which we know works. It's got 3 brilliant characters in it, and it really gets the message home about how the way we behave at work has a huge impact on other people.
Can you give us some real world examples of your workshops, whether it's that or another one?
Sure. So We've done a lot of work around the everyday management conversation. So that could be a manager needing to have a conversation about performance or about sickness absence. So we do lots of those in organizations, and people have a lot of fun. I mean, for example, the sickness absence one, we've included some social media element to that. So the person who's off sick, they're posting on social media that they were out the night before and they might have a headache tomorrow. And that bit of the story becomes uncovered as we go through, and through the delegates asking good questions to the characters. So that's a lot of fun. And then we also, as I've mentioned, deal with some really tough stuff like the bullying at work, like sexual harassment. I'm really focusing on managers having the skills that they need to have those conversations, so that when somebody reports something, that they have a really effective conversation with that person, that they can actually address issues of behaviour with members of their team and deal with complaints in the appropriate way and sensitively. So it's very much around the management of the issues. And the sweet spot is in prevention. It's in, that if you tackle these issues soon enough, early enough, there's an opportunity to manage it before it goes into an HR process, gets escalated, and then it's, everyone's in for quite a stressful time with that. And there's, you just have to see that process through.
Absolutely. Do you want to
In
manage one
most,
problem? Do you want to manage two?
yeah. But in most cases, unless it's very serious, it can be addressed early on. But managers need to have confidence to do that. They need some really good skills to do that, the people skills. And I think it's interesting that in this age of AI, where all the conversations about how AI is going to take over, and it's already, taking some jobs. Actually, I think the personal interactions are just going to become more and more important, aren't they? More and more valuable, and more important that we do them well.
Can you tell me about your ECA model?
Sure. So, this is something we developed a while back in response to some work that we were doing in some large organisations here in the UK. So essentially, we were looking at how can we bring more compassion into workplaces. So this really simple model is the way that you can be sure that you're offering a compassionate response in your conversation. And it's great for work conversations. It works well with the family as well, I'm going to say. So ECA simply stands for empathy, care, action. And there's 3 points sit under each of those. So for empathy, we're talking about the ability to build rapport and trust really quickly. And you do that by paying, your full attention to somebody, listening to them. It's about asking for that other person's perspective. So this is where we understand the world from their point of view. So the phrase, we walk in their shoes. So we just get that sense of what it's like from their experience. And then the need to be non-judgmental through that process. So if we're doing that, we're being empathic, we're showing empathy. The care, and this is really something that came out very strongly from COVID, is that, health and well-being are really important. They're vital, aren't they? And that's ours and everybody else's. So it's letting that person know that you care, and you care about them as an individual, as a member of your team. You care about their health and well-being, their ability to do the job. It's also caring about outcomes. We need to care about our contribution to the business at work, because there won't be one without it. So that's important too. And I think it's an opportunity to find out what matters to that other person. And there's such a simple question that you can use for that, which is, what matters to you? And after COVID, we went out to our client base and we asked the question, what matters to you? And these were HR directors, learning directors, people like that. And the first answer was always, well, it's about the well-being of the staff and how we come back from COVID, these big corporate messages. And then we said, and what really matters to you right now? And then we got, well, my health, I'm concerned about this, my family. So that little follow-up question really gets to the crux of that. And why it's useful for managers to do this is that if you understand your staff members' motivations, then they become much more, you become much more able to create the environment in which they are motivated. So it's really helpful. And then finally, we've got action. And what I was fascinated by when I researched compassion was that unless there's action embedded, we're not being compassionate. So it's not enough to show empathy or to care. We have to take action to help things progress. And I think that's a brilliant fit for business and for organizations, because we need to take action, and it's got to be the right action at the right time. And that might be on behalf of someone, or it might be enabling and empowering the other person to take action. So yeah, empathy, care, action. And if you can embed that model into your conversations, then you know that you're going to improve your team's morale, you're going to improve engagement and motivation, and it will lead to improved performance as a result. So it's just a great way to operate within business.
So within empathy, care, and action, do you feel that there's a hierarchy of importance? Do you feel they all roll into each other, or?
I see them as quite equal, but I
Okay.
think it's important to start with empathy. It's important to ask those open questions, to find out what's going on for the other person, and to listen to the response. Because once you've done that, then that opens the door for you to say, well, look, that's really helpful. And I've now got a better understanding of why you responded in that way or what's going on for you. Here's my perspective. So then you then have the opportunity to say, look, this is it from my point of view. These are the things I'm managing, and I really want your support with that. And I care about, how you're doing, and that you're well and fit for work, and that I can support you with having the skills to deliver your job, etc., etc. So I would say set it up in that order: empathy, care, action, but give each equal measure.
Excellent. All right. So tell me about your website. What is it people will find there?
So the website is resoundtraining.co.uk. I know you say .co.uk, but
We
we say
do. Sorry. We'll put a link in the show notes. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you'll see myself and my colleagues there. You'll have an opportunity to take a quiz called the Effective Leader Quiz, where you can have a little self-assessment about where you sit and what your strengths are, and areas that you might want to develop further. So that's useful. You'll be able to join one of our It Was Just Banter sessions, our forum theatre workshops that we're running. You can also have a look at our work that we do to support new managers. So we've got a qualification that is absolutely brilliant, giving new managers the skills to manage their teams. And you can contact me directly from the website, and we'd love you to do that. So if you're a manager in an organization thinking about, or a new manager and you're thinking about managing your team, do feel free to get in touch with any questions.
And I was going to ask, who usually attends your banter gatherings? What positions, corporations, businesses, who is it that usually shows up?
So usually we have people from human resources and learning and development departments, but it's also open to any managers who want to take some time to think about having managing these issues and having those conversations. So yeah, anyone in a management role, it's suitable for.
And you're in the UK. Are you just concentrated there, or are you, since you're on Zoom, international?
Absolutely. So we work with global organisations, and we often have people joining us from across time zones. So we have scheduled one of those workshops for 6 p.m. UK time. So I'm hoping that that will work well for folks in your neck of the woods, because obviously I think you're 6 hours behind us or 5 hours behind
Yeah,
us.
I think I'm 5, but
Five,
obviously then
yeah,
there's people that are going to be 8 hours behind you, so it'd be
yeah,
a
yeah,
morning session for them.
yeah. So I'm hoping
Fabulous.
that that gives a bit of scope for our to invite people from
Is
across
it
different time zones.
is it bad that I feel like that just sounds like a fun time? Is is that a commentary on how I spend my social time? You know what I mean? Like I just want to hang out. Like, oh, that was just banter. Uh do me a favor. Explain to me, with your workshops or your trainings, what is sort of a misconception that people have about what you do?
So when they hear the word forum theatre or drama-based learning, they're usually throwing their hands up in horror and saying, no, 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 I don't do role play. And in our workshops, we don't ask people to role play. And that's because there's other ways to get involved, which are really helpful. So they interview the characters and they find out more information about what's going on for that character. And they redirect the action. So the only time we would ask people to role play is if we were working with sales teams, because I think it can be really beneficial for sales teams, and lawyers, because lawyers, need to get into role too. But otherwise, we always say to people, relax, just enjoy it. And people really get stuck into the story. So this is the power of stories, isn't it? Which I know you're all about and we're all about.
Mm,
And people that come onto our workshops who are, a bit reticent, a bit reluctant, a bit resistant, all the R words, um, they're soon straight in. I mean, despite themselves, they're straight in there with
hmm.
the questions and the redirection, and that's because they're caught up in the emotional connection with those characters, and that's what makes it really work.
Fabulous. I find sometimes with those who are sort of resistant, once they sort of feel like they have permission to sort of engage in what's going on, I feel like that they're a little bit more accepting. And, a lot of when you speak about salespeople, my improv for business communication is geared towards salespeople. So I completely
Mm.
100% get why this is so good for them. But if you can you talk to me about lawyers, attorneys, and how receptive are they to this is going to sound good, but how receptive are they to accepting someone else's input on how they present themselves?
Oh, um, well, I would say the people I've worked with have been open to that. Some of them have really enjoyed the performance element of it. Um, I think the real challenge, for feedback is peer-to-peer feedback. I think that's the big challenge. I think if you're in the role of facilitator, that sort of gives you some permission or license to provide feedback. But I think where it can be really challenging is peer to peer, and that often it takes you back to, well, what's the culture within the team or within the organization? And sometimes you might be aware of that and sometimes not. I think that's where it's difficult.
Hmm.
Because we know from research that peer to peer, the feedback can be really really brutal. So
Mm,
that's the and that's why when you're facilitating, you're managing a lot of that. But yeah, I
absolutely.
think also, again, because we're dealing with stories, again, they're caught up in the story of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an easier way for people to I think, engage with it and
Engage.
yeah,
That's the word I was going to use.
involved. But
Yeah.
I used to offer sort of presentation skills. I did a lot of that work, and that could be challenging in giving feedback to people
Mm-hmm.
who had a view that they were um, really exceptional. And that's where you're recording people, videoing them, and then allowing them just to play it back. That then became the vehicle for feedback rather than the. I think the problem is people take it so personally when it's from another individual, don't they?
Yes, and they take other people's opinions personally as
Yeah.
opposed to, a growth moment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Even
And
when it's delivered really well.
mhm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a choice.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. We've had lots of moments like that over the
there's a
years. It's
lot
not
of
just
choice going
lawyers.
on. Lots of choice. I hear you.
Hmm.
Talk about your other offerings. What else do you have at your website? Other courses, whatever else you have available for our listeners, because as I've said, this is something that I love this. I think this is important. I think this is, sort of a function of something that everybody sort of needs to dip their toe in.
Yes, well, we have a number of really excellent coaches who are providing one-to-one support to people in leadership roles. We have our flagship course, which is for new managers that I mentioned. It's a qualification, and that's a sort of great way for new managers to start their learning around the people skills. And of course, all of our forum theatre workshops can be on any topic that's related to behaviour and conversations that managers need to have.
Fabulous. And that is all at your website. We'll have a link in the show notes. I think the biggest difference between what you do sort of with your, form theater versus an improv like I do is you can do it online. You can deliver that a little bit more easily as opposed to an improv that needs a little bit more buy-in from people and a little bit more participation. And it is a little bit better for improv to be in person. So
Yeah.
fabulous.
And we've done some improv work and I love it. But yes, the energy in the room in a face-to-face setting is
Mm.
really helpful to get people to break through any barriers that they might be experiencing with that. It's a great way to get the brain firing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's where that salespeople, attorneys, sort of comes in because they do a lot of that. There's a lot of
Yeah.
improv that goes on with both of those professions
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No, it's
communication.
great. Yeah, no, all strength to you for doing it.
Jill, share with me, what is your Monty? As you know, Monty is our mascot here at Belmont City Press, and he's sort of a beacon of all things inspirational or hope or a lesson learned or a mantra that we carry with us. So, what is your Monty that you can share with our listeners?
Well, I think it builds on the ECA model that we spoke about just now, and I would say compassion. Bring compassion into your life, bring compassion into the workplace, use empathy, care, action, and let's make a better world together. Because goodness knows it's divisive enough at the moment, isn't it? There's so much conflict in all areas of life and in all parts of the world, but we can improve the bit that we're in and the bit around us for the better. So yeah, I would say bring compassion to work.
Fabulous. Are you ready for our rapid fire session where we get to know the Jill behind the Jill?
Oh, well, as ready as I'm ever going to be, that's for sure. This is improvisation, isn't it?
All right. So, for those that don't know, I'm going to give Jill two choices, and you just tell me which one speaks to you, and I'll let you know if you're right or wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Because if you're wrong, it's just based in fact, which by fact, I mean my opinion. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Mint or cinnamon?
Mint.
Okay. Mint or spearmint?
Mint.
Yeah. I've always been a mint girl, but I switched to spearmint, and I don't know if I can go back. So I
No,
respect it. I respect it. Okay.
no.
Would you rather see an action movie or a comedy?
Comedy.
Yes, that's correct. Would you rather have an early breakfast or a later brunch?
Later brunch.
Okay. I would like an early brunch. You know what I'm saying? Like I love brunch because it has that mix, but I'd like it earlier in the day.
No, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just in case anyone was wondering what I want. Um,
Buy red and early brunch. That's the
yeah,
message out there. Okay.
there you go. Would you rather do fine dining or casual dining?
Casual.
So like a beer, beer and pub as opposed to get dressed up and wear actual clothing. I
Mm.
understand. I get that.
Mm.
Okay. Um, so social media or no social media?
Social media.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
I won't say it's wrong. I'm just saying. So would you rather have sushi or tacos? Are you in either camp?
I'm not keen on either. Is that a problem?
Really? What do you most, and I love the word keen too. All my, British ancestors are just like, hey, um, what are you keen on? What is your most favorite?
Out of those two.
No, in general,
Oh,
in life. If I was like, okay, let's go to dinner, Joe, where are we going?
oh, Italian.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll
Yeah.
accept it. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Okay, you're correct. I just want to let you know. All right. So, are you ready for our guest to guest question? As you know, the guest before you left behind a question for you, so you can
Okay.
answer it during our show. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. If you were given a magic wand
Right.
and within the criminal justice system, if you could change anything, what would you change?
Wow, that's gone deep, hasn't it?
Well, it's very specific. So,
Okay.
yes.
So I would say investment in prevention of
Mhm.
crime. And I think for that, and I'm thinking certainly in the UK, we have communities that feel left behind. So there's some social issues. So I think they need investment.
Mhm.
Um, and we need to really improve the quality of life for some of our people, some of our communities. And so that's about equity of opportunity, and it's about education, it's about health, it's about the future potential, and it's about young people and giving them the best possible start in life.
Mm,
So I've got two very small grandchildren and another one that's due this autumn, and my goodness, you want the best start in life, don't you?
absolutely.
So yeah, we need to be investing.
Would
Uh,
you say that it's based in empathy, care, and action?
I certainly would. I certainly
We've come
would.
full circle, my
Yeah, yeah,
friend.
yeah.
So, one more time, your website, your social medias, where can people find you? What is important for them to know?
So resoundtraining.co.uk is the website. Do go and have a look there. You can certainly sign up for our free workshops, take the quiz, join the wait list for other free stuff that's coming down the line. So and get in touch with us from there. I'm also very active on LinkedIn under my name, Gill Brabner. Have a look at that. So yeah, that's the
Excellent.
main that they're the two main places.
Is the schedule for the Oh, It's Just Banter hangouts on there as well?
Yeah, yeah,
Fabulous.
25th of September. Three options,
I
including one for people your side of the pond.
I'm I'm literally I want to do this.
I
Um
hope you'll be there.
I
We'd
really
love to
do.
have you there. That would be great fun. Yeah,
This is just a good time. Like it's just a
yeah.
good
I
time.
want you interviewing that character. I really do.
All right, so Jill, if I were to give you 60 seconds to tell us a story, what would the world learn from you?
What would the world learn? I would say if you're a new manager or a new team leader or a new supervisor or aspiring to be one, you can change the world. You can make a huge difference to the people that you're leading. And please do that in a positive way, because the way that you manage them is going to have an impact on their engagement, their motivation, their well-being, and their performance, which is obviously really important to you. And crucially, yours as well. So, yeah, get support, learn how to do it well, and you will have the most successful career and leave a positive legacy for the people that you manage. So yeah, if we can help, reach out to us. But otherwise, yeah, look around you. Come to Red's podcasts, join the improv group. There's lots of ways that you can get support in this work.
I think we all just need to lead with empathy, care, and action.
We certainly do.
Certainly do. I will leave you with that. I appreciate your time, Gill. It's extremely valuable, and I hope I honored that here today.
You did. Thank you, Red. It's been brilliant.
Thank you. To our listeners, if you have a story to share, visit tellasastorypodcast.com. If you're an aspiring author, a seasoned business owner, or looking to elevate your personal brand, visit belmontcitypress.com for expert advice on writing your own success story. Trust the next chapter, because you are the author. Now, tell us a story.